Hello everyone, welcome back to alkaline hydroxide 784, and today in the TDBTP I will be covering the history paper 1. Unfortunately, history requires a lot of remembering of content, and after like 1 year of not reading history I'm not sure how good I would be at remembering the content, but I guess this one doesn't really require me to say it out, so it's okay. Anyways, I'm sorry, it's such a thundery day on Monday. Never mind. Let's continue. So for history, I know that there's a difference between paper one and paper two. We all know it. Even if it's the same format, you just feel like there's a difference between your performance in one or the other. And I'm saying H2 history because I'm pretty sure the H1 history you only have to do one of the papers, which is the international history, and I think that is great. But there wasn't H1 history in my school, so anyways, but it's okay. I still got a decent grade. Never mind. Okay, let's get to the business. Okay, so I feel like I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but I know that there's some of you who would find one paper easier than the other. That's what I was trying to get at the beginning just now. For example, I find international history way easier than Southeast Asian history. Don't ask me why. I just find it easier to do. And I generally get more marks in paper one compared to paper two. And yeah. But at least I somehow managed to get a grade in prelims that was comparable to whatever grade I got in A level. So, wow. Yay. Anyways, uh, yeah, so if you find paper one easier, then yay, good job. I mean, not necessarily good job, but at least you can feel happy about doing paper one. Even if you don't feel happy about doing paper two, you can feel happy about doing paper one. And yeah, here's another thing that I felt during the A levels is that compared to any other subject, let's say maths, I love studying maths for some reason. And then chemistry, physics, I was okay. I didn't really find it that hard to study. But history, yeah. Like towards the end of the month I was just like like I just had this sense of uh what is it? Like I just wanted it to finish, yeah. Because history is like a subject that I like, but at the same time I find it hard to do really well in. Like I can do decently well but not like really well. You know what I mean? It also requires a lot of like studying, even though it's not really it's a humanities subject and I'm a science student, so but at the same time I feel like I do have a bit of humanity in me because I do enjoy certain humanities stuff as well. I'm not just a completely 100% science person. But you get the idea. So yeah, so the day before the paper you will definitely still be trying to study something in your history notes. I'm 100% sure of that because I was still feeling incomplete the day before the exam, of course. It's not like physics or chem where I had my notes in less than an hour already to read. Meanwhile, history, my notes was like in a Word document, not even handwritten, because the other subject I could easily just do some handwritten notes which I can keep reusing again and again. But for history, I ended up doing like a whole document of notes, and I was looking through that, and that took quite a while to go through because that itself was a lot of stuff. And even in that, I didn't write everything down, like especially the UN stuff. I wasn't prepared to go and memorize each and every detail of that. And even though I read through it, I'm pretty sure I don't remember. I didn't really remember enough details in that. So, yeah. So let's get to more specific stuff. So in history paper one, you have the Cold War, you have the UN, you have the economy stuff, you have the what else? Yeah, let's see. It's the three teams. The first team is Cold War, the second team is economy, third team is UN. Great. So Cold War is actually the easiest one because for some reason I remember the stuff in the Cold War the easiest. It's probably because I learned some of it in secondary school. Like I learned Cold War related stuff in secondary school, and this is more of a extended version of it. And I learned more details about more things, and it was interesting in its own way. I mean, Cold War is really fun to learn about, especially if you're looking at the propaganda. I'm not even kidding. Yeah. Then the second theme is about the economy, which I think is pretty logical. It's very like logical to follow, and you don't really have to provide too many statistics for the paper one version of like that part of the economy, and therefore it wasn't that bad. If you knew how to navigate your way through that topic, you would do decently well in it. And of course, the third topic, the UN. Well, like actually the UN, I did enjoy the some of the arguments about the UN and all the stuff, but the part that really is the hardest about the UN is remembering all of the case studies, which I definitely did not remember all of those case studies. So yeah, I think at this point of time, if you really have trouble with it, then at least remember the most important ones, like the Nicaragua one, the one that involves US. Just remember the stuff that involves US at the very least. If you can do that, then you're at least you have something to write about. But if you can remember any other interesting case studies, then go ahead and do it. Uh, the thing is, of course, if you're the kind of person who remembers a case study but not the details, maybe like me, I may probably remember, oh, okay, there's a Nicaragua, the US, and there's one time where some, oh, actually, it was that one. There's some UN peacekeepers were shot or something. I don't know. Then there's one about the India, Pakistan. Then there's one about the Vietnam, Cambodia. Yeah, you get the idea. My that's all I remember. I don't remember the details. Yeah, and I know there's one related to fishing and stuff like that. So that's one way of you can at least try to remember the title of it and maybe the most generic detail that you can get out of it. The other way you can do it, approach it, is to hope that the question will not ask you for stuff that involves a lot of case studies and then just be like ignore them altogether. But I don't know how that's gonna work. So because in nowadays they really test everything. They make you use a lot of knowledge, or at least they make it it seems the way it goes is that you have to study everything, even though there will be only certain topics tested, because this is how it works, right? So yeah. So the day before the paper, if you still have trouble with these things, I think I suggest just leave it, because at this point I don't really know how much more you can really get into your head. But if you can, then go ahead. I'm not going to stop you from doing it. But like really trying to cram it into your head isn't gonna work, especially if you're trying to do it at 9 p.m. in the night and you have the paper the next day. I think the most important thing is to have a clear mind, because the history paper is 3 hours long, yet you have three different things to write. You hardly have time, you know. You have to make sure to finish writing your SBQ in slightly over an hour, and then your two essays in about 50 minutes each. That's really the way that we allocate time here. So if you want to be if you want to do well in your paper, more than trying to remember your case studies for maybe UN or something else that you cannot remember, try to focus on being alert the next day so that you can at least have a clear mind and make the right decisions with regards to the questions. Because yeah, you know, there's like for the SBQ you have no choice, because but I think usually with the SBQ you know the stuff the most, like you know the content, because it's Cold War. Cold War is the easiest thing to remember, I'm not kidding you. Especially if you're talking about all the interesting side stories that comes with the Cold War, that makes it easier to remember. But anyway, that's not the point. So for the two essay questions, you have a choice of two different questions. And usually it could be like one is more narrow, one is more broad, or the two of them cover different topics. And you should think rationally about which stuff that you would have studied more, or which stuff you can argue better, maybe you read more of this, but you feel like you can argue something else way better than this one, because you've internalized that one a lot earlier itself, and you know how to give a good argument. Then you choose the one that you can give a good argument with, in a sense. And also the evidence should be, you should take that into consideration if you have enough evidence for your arguments, because that's important as well. Like how you do in GP, you need to have an argument and then you need to have some evidence as well. But I guess the argument is more important, because you need to give good, you need to put your reasons logically and make sense. And if you can include your own insights, then that's great. You can get your more marks, I guess. Yeah, just do your best, be confident, don't worry, and be calm. Like if you realize that you have a trouble with finishing writing down everything in time, then you do the same strategy that you did in GP. So let's say, for example, you set 1 hour 10 minutes for your SBQ, then 15 minutes for each of the other two sections. Then maybe you're writing the SBQ and it's already 50 minutes up. You only have 20 minutes left, and you feel like you may not be able to write everything in the time. Then you prioritize writing certain things first, because unless you know that you can finish your essays really quickly in 30 minutes or something, or maybe 40 minutes, and get even more time for this, maybe you might want to wrap it up quickly and then move on. That is one strategy. The other strategy would be to really stretch it as much as you can. Like sometimes I do that. Even though it's like already 1 hour plus, I will still be trying to write as many things as I can in my SBQ and try to finish that first, because I have confidence in somehow finishing my essay up quickly. So if I have more confidence in my SBQ, then I spend more time on that, and then make sure I can get as many points as I can in that before I move on to my essay, which I feel like I won't do that well in anyway. You know what I mean? So yeah, you can use that as your strategy. It's really up to you to decide. It's your own personal choice. You should evaluate what you do well and what you don't do well. Yeah, for example, if you're not very good at SPQ, then just try to finish it quickly at the very least, so that you have more time to focus on your essay. But at the same time, you shouldn't over mess up your SPQ or your essay, because that would dramatically decrease the amount of marks that you have, which is not good. You must be at least somewhat decent in each of them. So yeah, like look at your goals, look at what you're good in, and then accordingly plan your strategy. It's like GP, you need to plan a strategy. Here also you need to plan a strategy. It's important. So yeah, for paper one, I hope you do well, at least for paper one. If like maybe some of you are good at paper one and not so good at paper two, then try your best, like your very very best at paper one, because you might be very tired by the time paper two comes, because your head will just be like from all the stuff you have to remember. So yeah, at least do one of the papers well, so that you can feel a little bit less stressed out about the other one. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, so in that, I have nothing else to say, I guess. I suggest you continue studying. um the the November will end in like 10 days, so look forward to it. Oh, actually, wait. By the time the history paper is on which day? 22nd, yeah, in about 10 days or less than that. So, good luck for all of your papers, not just history. If there's anything else you have afterwards, or if you're taking history, good luck for that as well. And I hope you found this useful. I spoke for quite a bit of time, I think. Yeah, with that, I would like to say thank you and bye.